All right, we are back. It's been a while. It's been
a minute.
It sure has. We're trying to remember how to do this podcast thing. Welcome back to Patrolling in Paradise, the podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Gabriella.
As always, we are your public information team. We are excited to be back. It's been a long time after all the storms and
there was a couple other things in between there, I feel like. But
a lot of stuff happening. So hopefully everybody listening, you guys made it through the storm okay, and storms okay, I should say plural. And we're happy to have you back, and we're happy to be back. And we actually were honored to be able to put on our annual Halloween event just last week on Thursday night. So
yes.
Was it Thursday night? Wednesday night? Whatever Halloween was.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a blur, but it was Thursday night, October 31st. We put on our annual Cops and Goblins event.
Yeah, it was exciting to be back and see all them kids in their costumes, and our deputies get to enjoy that special event with them again. So
yeah, for sure.
Go ahead.
This year, I mean, I have the ability, I'm going to go ahead and say the ability to be a part of the planning. It's such an incredible opportunity to see the behind the scenes stuff, because for the regular community or regular family that gets to just show up and enjoy all of the fun stuff, they go and they bounce in the bounce houses, they get their face painted, they get the candy, and they have a really awesome night. But there's so much that goes into planning those few hours of the event that is Cops and Goblins. And truly, we couldn't have done it this year without the support of our incredible sponsors.
Oh, absolutely. I can't even tell you how many supporters we had that came forward when we said we were going to do this thing, and then everybody else was canceling their events. And that was happening everywhere. I mean, Punta Gorda usually has a huge celebration downtown, and that got canceled. So we knew as soon as that announcement was made that we were going to get a lot of people that we normally wouldn't get.
Yeah.
So those supporters stepping up and helping to make that thing a reality, we can't thank you enough, as Gabriella said. So
yeah. And I still remember the conversation, and Chris, you were there. We had a team meeting. I believe it was after Milton, where it was finally the first day that everyone was back in the office, and our community affairs team we all just kind of looked at each other and said, Cops and Goblins still has to happen no matter what. We have to put this on for the community. And boy, oh boy, did we.
And it's funny because we are always gung-ho about doing those things anyway. We have a great team in the community affairs unit. Obviously, myself and Gabriella are part of that team, but Jennifer Wilson, who does the lion's share of the coordinating for Cops and Goblins and Shop with a Cop coming up soon, just the brunt of the work on our unit. And we all come together and we make these things happen. And I remember when we were talking about it and we said, we absolutely have to do this. And then Sheriff Permel got involved, and we said, Sheriff, what are your thoughts? Because we understand what our community is going through. And we couldn't even get the words out of our mouth. And he was like, no, this is happening. This needs to happen. So
yeah,
big shout out to the sheriff, of course. We've done it. We did it after Ian as well. You weren't yet on the team, but we did it right after Hurricane Ian when the county was absolutely devastated. And Sheriff Permel said, I don't care how you do it. Make this thing happen. Our community needs it. So
yeah. And it was just so sweet to see so many kids with so many smiling faces. It was, you put all of this time and this effort into the tiniest of details, and then to see it all come together and to see these kids out there trick-or-treating and laughing and smiling, it made everything worth it. It was just unbelievable.
And we're talking countless hours of planning. This thing starts back in, I'm going to say June, when we start planning for Cops and Goblins. It usually starts around June. And that's when we start putting the word out. We start collecting sponsorships and donations, and we announce our in-house candy competition. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So here at CCSO, we actually do, like Chris said, an in-house candy competition. And basically, we divide up into teams. This year, we were a little bit more divided than I think in years past, but we divide up into teams like detention, law enforcement squads, headquarters, crime scene, and it's a competition to see who can collect the most candy by weight. Now, in years past, I believe, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe as an agency, we brought in a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. We brought in just over a ton last year. Mm-hmm.
So this year, we brought in 1.6 tons as an agency, I believe, which is like 1,000 and 1,500 some pounds. I don't know exactly. The numbers are kind of all melting together. But in addition to that, we ended up purchasing candy through our incredible community partner, Target. And I think that night, I'd have to check the exact numbers, but I think that night we gave over 4,000 pounds of candy away.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and until you're actually in the room with tubs and tubs of candy, which, by the way, all has to be sorted.
Yep.
Because you have to put chocolate in a bin because chocolate is meltable. Then you put the candy that's not meltable because this event is both indoors and outdoors.
Correct.
When you're in a room with that much candy, the smell is kind of nauseating.
It's powerful. It is powerful. So anybody who's never been in a room with 2 tons of candy all in open bins and containers, don't. Just don't.
Nope.
It will make you sick. So we also want to give a shout out to Port Charlotte Town Center Mall, who has been our partner now for 2 years on this event. And they really just let us do whatever the heck we want to do in there. I mean, we went to, his name's John, our contact over there, and we said, hey, John, we want to put a giant inflatable pumpkin maze in the middle of your mall. And he was like, okay, cool. And we said, okay, John, hey, we want to land a helicopter out in your parking lot. And he's like, okay, cool. So shout out to the mall. We really appreciate what you guys do and have done for us for the past 2 years. And obviously, this was our biggest one ever. We estimate we had just over 6,000 people at this event. So honestly, the list goes on for the people that contributed and made this happen, and our own people who volunteered their time and their efforts to create their own booths. And we did a booth competition as well, most creative booths. So do you want to touch on that at all?
Yeah. So we kind of spiced up the competition in that aspect too. We had a pumpkin trophy made. It was actually a metal Halloween pumpkin decoration, and we had it mounted to a base, and that became our new perpetual trophy for our in-house candy competition. And then in addition to that, we did a competition for most creative indoor booth and most creative outdoor booth. So all of our community partners and anybody who was going to set up a table at the event, we told them about this competition, and it really... We had A1 Towing. They did this spooktacular, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was like a walk-through maze of these rock and roll skeletons, and it was glow in the dark.
Like a haunted house, but not scary. It was more fun.
Yes, it was just unbelievable. And then you walked out the backside, and they raffled off a bunch of prizes. Like, they went all out. And then Burnt Store Title, they did like a little pumpkin patch photo booth type thing. I mean, so many different people went all out for this competition, and it was just so much fun to see the creativity come to life that night.
And for the indoor booths, it was actually our own detention squad that ended up winning most creative booth for their Enchanted Pumpkin Forest, I believe is what it was called, which was really cool. They dressed in costume. They had all the makeup. They had the booth decorated. Super cool thing. So shout out to the detention team because, Halloween is their thing, apparently. They stepped up. So they brought in the most candy for the second consecutive year, even though we split them up this time to try and make it harder for them. They brought in the most candy, and then they won the indoor booth contest. So they really did just go all out to make this thing special for all of our community members and the kids especially. So
yeah, and I would definitely encourage those who didn't get a chance to attend this year, go on our Facebook page, Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Facebook, and just look at the pictures, because you don't really realize how big and how amazing this event is until you see it in pictures. Even myself, I was there, but looking at the pictures the next day and seeing, the horses from Peace River Search and Rescue and Splash the Otter, who
the
was
otter.
my favorite.
He was definitely a show stealer for sure.
Yes, but just seeing all of it and seeing just how massive this thing was, I sincerely hope that it would encourage families to put it on their calendars for next year.
Absolutely. And it reminded me that you weren't a part of it last year. Like, you came onto the team right after it ended. So you joined the first week of November, I think
it was November 6th I joined Community Affairs. So you guys were in like the debrief stage and I'm like, what's Cops and Goblins?
So you missed all the fun. But now you've got your first one under your belt. So you've seen it, you've experienced it. You see, and you were a big part of the planning with that as well, working with Jen a lot behind the scenes. So a little shout out to you on that one as well. I know that it's a lot of work that goes into it. And, I remember when I was in that role and I was doing it, how much work actually goes in. And so Jen Wilson comes in. She's from Indiana. She's, 20 some odd years as a law enforcement officer in Indiana, which means she started when she was like 12, because I will not. If you meet Jen Wilson, you'll understand she is such a young heart that there's no way you would believe that she's over the age of 40. It's not possible.
No way. She is just a ball of energy. She has more energy than me.
Right.
And I'm like, I just watch how she works and how she operates, and she puts so much attention to detail, and every last word on the page and every last color on the flyer, she is just there. She's involved. She has her eyes on it. And I'm so fortunate that she trusts me enough to be a part of that and to kind of be her partner in crime, because working with her is fun. It doesn't feel like work. And we get to plan events like Cops and Goblins. And even, today we're working on Shop with a Cop. And it's just so much fun to work with someone who has that much passion and that much care and that much experience. Like you said, she came from a law enforcement agency. So it's a blast.
She stepped in and, as I said, I used to do that program, and she took it and I said, okay, Jen, here you go. This is how I've done it. This is what I did. And she goes, that's great. I'm going to do more. And I'm like, okay, but you haven't even done one yet to understand what goes into it. And she goes, that's great. I'm going to do more. And I said, okay, so you're going to make me look lazy right off the bat. Perfect. I appreciate that very much. So I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, we will get Jen on this show. We were going to try and get her on this show, but she's already in Shop with a Cop mode.
Yes, she is like hyper focused. I begged and pleaded, like, please come on, let the people hear your voice and talk about Cops and Goblins, which is like her baby. But she is, nope, on to the next thing. So one of these days we'll pry her out of that office chair and get her over here.
Shop with a Cop is only 4 weeks away, as we've been reminded. So, we've done so much already this year, and we've been through so much as a community. So to put on Cops and Goblins was special. That was really important to us. And then we immediately roll right into the next thing, which is Shop with a Cop, which is taking care of people, kids, youth in our community who are struggling right now. Some of them are going through a really hard time, and probably more this year than we've seen in past years because of the two storms. So, Jen, if you're listening, and I'll make sure that you do listen, shout out to you. You do great work. We love you. We're proud of you. And just keep the ball rolling. So we'll get you on the show, though. You're not getting out of this one.
Yes. Thank you, Jen, for everything you do. We love you, and you will be on this show.
That's right. So before we sign off one last time, we just want to recognize our sponsors, our supporters, and our community members and our staff members for everybody coming together and making Cops and Goblins the success that it was, the biggest program that we've ever had. And I mean, I think if you look at those pictures, like Gabriella said, check out our Facebook page. It's at CCSO FL Sheriff. You'll see the joy, not just on the kids, but even on the deputies. You'll see the pictures of the ones who got splattered in the face with whipped cream. and they're laughing and they're loving, and that's what Charlotte County is all about. So I guess for now we'll sign off, and we're going to have John Stewart on a show coming up very soon. He's with our 911 program. He's going to be sharing some of the new developments in that. And we're already working with our cold case unit to get them on the show as well. And we know you guys love true crime, so it doesn't get any better than the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office cold case unit. I can tell you that right now.
Best of the best.
So absolutely stay tuned, and we'll see you again on the next show. Thanks so much.